Well, the warships, a development blog, Kitakami testing. In update 12.6, we will resume testing Kitakami, a cruiser whose main armor consists of 5 quadruple torpedo tube launchers on each side. 5 quadruple, so 40 torps total. There was a time when this would have been considered completely absurd and completely bonkers and completely too overpowered. Like, they've tried to add this ship before. This is like the third or fourth time they're testing it, and it's always been decided that it was too game breaking. The first couple of times they tested it, there was still friendly fire, and the Kitakami test concluded with that Kitakami players actually did more friendly fire damage than enemy damage, so they didn't add it for that reason. So, but then friendly fire has been removed, so now you can drop whatever the hell you like and no longer care. And while it sounds ridiculous to launch 40 torps, Jinan can do the same thing. They have Yodo, they have Jinan. They've added a lot of these ships that are cruisers that are torpedo focused. So, absolutely. I mean, it shows how far the game has gone, because this no longer seems that ridiculous. Because ultimately, a Kitakami I can kill, a Kitakami I can sink. It's probably going to be less of a threat to me than a submarine or a carrier anyway. And I can probably hydro his torps and dodge them, unlike carrier and submarine torps. So, yeah. Before the beginning of this test, the technical setup of the ship will be conducted in 12.5. The geometry and textures of the ship have been updated. Kitakami armor was updated with new tech that was added in update 0.10.9. Redistributed HP in different parts of the ship without affecting the overall amount of HP. Bow increased HP, stern increased HP, superstructure reduced. Wait, no, reduced. More HP in the bow is generally not that good of a thing. You want your bow to saturate as quickly as possible so you can sit nose in and mitigate the damage you take. Citadel deck armor reduced from 50 to 30 millimeters. Auxiliary room armor reduced from 30 to 16. This Citadel deck armor reduction is questionable to me, because if I remember correctly, the Kitakami model, they showed it once. Does anyone have a link to that armor model? I'm pretty sure they showed it once. And if I remember correctly, that ship has an exposed Citadel deck somewhere in the midsection of the ship. Because it's a Kuma hull. Yeah, isn't it a Kuma hull? Let's see. Kuma. Let's see. We need to lecture Kuma. If I remember correctly, yeah, look. This is the Citadel, and it's exposed. And if they're really, this is 30 millimeters, this Citadel armor. If they're really gonna reduce that to 16 millimeters, it means destroyers, Citadel deck armor reduced from 50. Wait, so they buffed it to 50 for the Kuma, but then they reduced it back down to 30? Or sorry, they buffed it to 50 for the Kitakami, but then reduced it back down to 30. So anything that pins 30 is going to be able to HE Citadel this film. I think battleships will be able to overmatch now. Or sorry, battleships will probably overpen it. Because trying to Citadel, this is like Citadeling Smolensk, chat. Either your AP won't arm, or by the time it arms, the ship is too thin, so you'll just punch straight through it. But on the other hand, DDs and cruisers will probably dumpster this thing pretty hard, provided they can spot it. And I think CVs, of course, are going to be a massive, massive problem. Honestly, Kitakami, I don't think it's even going to be that broken anymore. Like, there's so many worse things in the game these days. There's so many worse things. I don't think Kitakami will be, by a mile, the most broken thing in the game right now. Because this thing, if you spot it, you can probably dumpster it pretty easily, either in destroyers or cruisers or whatever carrier spotting comes in and you shit on it. Like, I think it won't be worse than subs, right? You can catch this thing. You can see it. It can't dive. It can't disappear. It can't pop out of nowhere. Like, it's not like planes. It's not going to be able to sit that far back in the map and so forth. Still sounds like another bad idea. Sure. It's... I mean, it's an anti-pushing ship, of course. Do we need more of those? Probably not, but I don't think. It has British smokes. Yes, heel and short burst smoke. But sitting in a smoke in a torpedo boat, generally not that useful. Still, it's going to be a lot of torps. It's going to be a lot of torps. The worst part is that it's 5 quad torps. Why is 5 quad torps an issue? Because you can already overlap torpedo spreads. Like, you send 4 one way, and then you send 4 on top of it, and then 4 on top, and 4 on top, and 4 on top. So if you got a ship that's sitting nose in, and you launch 5 sets of 4 at him, he's gonna eat, like, even with the worst RNG, he's probably gonna eat 2, 3, 4 torps nose in. God forbid he makes any sort of course adjustments and he'll eat more. So you can saturate your spreads very effectively with that many quintuple torps sets, or that many quadruples. But honestly, if I have to choose, I'd rather fight the Kitakami than a submarine. If I know where the Kitakami is, I can angle against the torps. I can generally juke them, because if the Kitakami wants to torp me, he'll probably have to sit in a cruiser, probably at 9 to 10 km range, which means the time travel for the torp is like 1.5 minutes or something. I got a shit ton of time to react. I can juke him by changing course and so forth. I got a lot of counterplay available to me. If it's a submarine, he can sit 2.1 km away on my broadside, launch torps, and by the time I see them, it's too late and I instantly die. There's no counterplay there. So, at least against Kitakami, I have options. So, if I have to choose, I'd rather fight this Ebola than the other SARS or whatever. You can also outrun the Kita. I can cut away from a Kita easily. What is it gonna do? Torp behind me? Ulmao. Like, that's not gonna do anything. Whereas sub can just catch up to you and shotgun you anyway. Like, there's so much more counterplay against this thing than there is against the submarine. So if I have to choose, this is a lesser evil for sure compared. If he smokes up, even better. I know exactly where he is, and it's even easier to juke the torps. Like, Kitakami, it's sad that we've reached a point that this ship is a lesser evil. That's how far they pushed the game with their submarines. Honestly, it sounds rough as hell to play at tier 10, because it just sounds like you're an oversized destroyer. You're an oversized destroyer with a citadel. That's what it sounds like. And honestly, compared to a super destroyer that is submarine, compared to like, submarines are literally super destroyers in World of Warships. They're not submarines. Wargaming's idea of submarines in World of Warships is a super destroyer. It's a destroyer that is faster than other DDs, is immune to plane spotting, is immune to hydro, is immune to radar, can dive and disappear at will, can create crossfires in the middle of enemies' saturated areas, can trade its life for another even if the other one is playing perfectly. Like, submarines are a super destroyer in World of Warships right now. And Kitakami, on the other hand, just seems like a really weak cruiser destroyer. So, well, weak and weak. It depends what torps they give it. But in general, I feel like I'd rather fight this thing. Yeah, it's DDs with invisible and invincible. Yeah, exactly.